I am Dracula.
The Mummy saga continues. If you've been keeping up with the channel, you know we've been covering the classic Universal monster mummy movies leading up to the Lee Cronin movie that's coming out in April, I believe. Last week we were talking about The Mummy's Tomb, first of the Lon Chaney appearance. So today we're talking about the direct sequel to that one, which is The Mummy's Ghost.
There's no thief that killed Ben, Mrs. Evans. And nothing human tore through that wall. I'll take her back.
Now, I only realised last week, listening back on the podcast a little bit, I was fucking up the name. I kept calling it The Mummy's Hand when we were talking about The Mummy's Tomb. So hopefully that doesn't happen in this one. But yes, The Mummy's Ghost from 1944, directed by Reginald Lebog and, of course, starring Lon Chaney. Interesting on this one, though, we have John Carradine joining the cast, playing a questionable role, I will say. We also have Ramsey Ames, Barton McLean, George Zucco's after returning, and then Robert Lowry. So we do have a few returning characters in this one. Just to recap a little bit. Well, actually, before we recap on the last movie, joining me today on the panel, we have Chris Conley, aka Mr. C. We have Bryan Dragon, and then we have Zontar. Basically, the crew that's been holding it down with me for the Mummy reviews. So you know the guys. I'm going to leave a link in the description. We'll go through all their socials at the end. Yeah, just to do a little bit of a recap on the last one. The ending of it was when we were talking about the last episode. Kharis had the girl up in the house. The angry mob basically burns down the house. And somehow in this one, Kharis comes back once again. So if you remember, like the last movie was set 30 years after the previous one. I don't think there's any time jump in The Mummy's Ghost. I think it's still set 30 years after The Mummy's Hand. So,
yeah, it says 30 years prior in the film, so there's no time jump for this one. So it's still 1970, hooray! and it still looks like the 1940s.
Everyone's still walking around in suits and blazers and top hats. Doesn't look like no 70s to me.
Well, if World War II is still going on in that timeline, then clearly we don't have to worry about any advances in, like warfare. But geez, imagine how much of a wasteland Europe, Asia, and Africa must be.
Yeah.
That's probably the more terrifying part than Kharis.
The shape of things to come.
Zontar, you sound beautiful today, man. Is that a new mic?
Good. I switched out webcams, so hopefully,
Oh yeah, no, that is perfect, man. That's perfect. Yeah. I suppose that balls deep into World War II. That's an interesting thing to think about. That would have been an interesting time for Europe all the same. A lot more scarier than a lumbering undead mummy walking around for sure, Bryan. Yeah, but this movie, what I liked, but before we get into it, what I really liked about this one plays with the backstory a little bit more. We get to find out a little bit more about Princess Ananka. As Bryan mentioned in the last episode, we're kind of talking about during the other reviews about the reincarnation returns from the original movie in this one. It's different. We're still in Massachusetts in this one, which I'm pretty sure the mummy setting is quite gone, except we do get a couple of scenes. But what I can respect about this movie, now I could be wrong, but I don't think there's any stock footage in this one. I don't think they reuse any scenes from previous movies, and if they did, it's very unnoticeable compared to the other ones that we've been reviewing. I could be wrong on that though. Before we get in, guys, to the plot and all that, Chris, what did you think of this movie?
I'm glad to raise my hand and get called on. So picking up just from what you said, this isn't let's hang out with the stock footage. This isn't let's reestablish what happened in the previous movie. This is a stripped down, lean, raring to go. If this movie was a musical style, it would be a garage punk band because they're just ready to tear into the horror, and it did just what it set out to do, and I very much appreciate it. Let me say, the last time maybe it was a little bit because I was a little bit under the weather. Last time maybe it was a little bit because I watched the movies back to back, and so then I'm seeing the movie, then I'm seeing the recap right after I just saw the movie. But this was all straightforward, short run time, a 60 minutes spot on, and this gave me a different appreciation this time around compared to the previous films.
Yeah, because I was thinking when we got to maybe the last movie, I was like, I can feel maybe these movies could be getting a little bit repetitive, but I still think they throw in something, at least one or two things in each movie that keeps it fresh. And as I said, we do learn a little bit more about Princess Ananka in this one, and it is different. Kharis is off the wall in this one. Like Kharis has a bit of fun in this one. It's and even Yousef Bey, the character that's played by John Carradine, is a sneaky fucking bastard. We're gonna get into it. But Bryan, what did you think about this one?
Yeah, it's very good. I like the ending a lot. Did some turns out Frank Riker, who played Engelhorn in the original Kong films, was in The Mummy's Tomb and this also, but I remember him more strongly in this film than I do The Mummy's Tomb, which is, I don't know, weird, and it's nice to see Kharis just, break from the script and, turning against his master, that sort of thing.
Yeah, because
and then his,
if you remember in the last film, Bryan, remember when Kharis goes to almost choke out Mohammed Bey? So we almost got a sneak peek of what he really wanted to do, and then in this movie we finally get it. So yeah, that's very true. So Tyre, what did you think of this movie, man?
Yeah, I'm a fan. I appreciate the lack of stock footage. That's my biggest gripe about the last one, was the first 15 minutes of the previous one being all previous footage. And then John Carradine, gets Bey gets a lot more time in this one because it's John Carradine, and he's coming off of Graves of Wrath, so he hasn't started his later decline. He's still a big name at the time, and he gets plenty of footage, and he's great.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of John Carradine. Am I right in saying he played Dracula in one of the later, like House of Dracula?
Yeah, House.
Yeah, he was in House of Frankenstein and House of Dracula. And interesting to note that out of the owned Universal films, that those are the only two where Dracula actually has a mustache, like in the original Bram Stoker novel.
Yeah, quite interesting. John Carradine playing the Dracula kind of reminds me of like a magician or something like that. He's an interesting pick. Am I right in saying the movie that follows this was released in the same year of 1944, The Mummy's Curse?
Yeah, both films were released the same year, but this one was actually shot the previous year.
Yeah, I did read that, 1943. So two mummy movies in the 1 year. Fuck me. I say at this stage of the series, I say Lon Chaney just has a pain in his ass with that mummy makeup. I was looking a little bit more about like how long it took to apply that sort of makeup. As you can see in this movie, this was one, besides the Boris Karloff one, which I have on Blu-ray, this was the first one I could watch because I actually own it on Blu-ray, so I could see a bit more detail on the mummy. And man, whatever is on Lon Chaney's face, that looks incredibly uncomfortable. Like I say, that must have been tough getting that applied onto his face every single day. I believe he did say that the mummy was his least favorite role that he'd done.
Yeah, but he did give it his own in that rampage in the museum when Ananka's mummy just crumbles apart.
That was a great scene, and yeah, I'm dying to talk a little bit about more of that scene. But just Lon Chaney in this one, I don't know. He does look like a little bit more intimidating. I think the director in this one done a little bit of a better job shooting him compared to the last movie. I don't know what it is. It's just a lot of scenes where you're thinking, yes, like there's only so much you can do with a mummy walking around like that. But I don't know. I think the director in this one took it in different areas, which I could appreciate. But we'll jump into the plot. So the beginning of the movie, we're back in Egypt. Indo Heb is alive now. As far as I remember, it looked like he died in the last movie, so he's back alive now, and then he's back kicking. He has a new apprentice, Yousef Bey, which he'll take over as the High Priest, obviously played by John Carradine, as we've been talking about, and gets a backstory of Kharis and Ananka. And Ananka was actually killed for her love for Kharis. It was like a forbidden love that went against the high priest of Ardit. So that straight away I found that interesting. I was like, that's a bit of a curveball now. Like I was not expecting that through the previous Kharis movies. That's quite interesting. And Professor Matthew Norman, which was the doctor in the previous movie that showed the cops, that basically told the cops that like it was an undead mummy, 3,000-year-old mummy that was doing the killing. He's back. He's a returning character in this one, and he's explaining the lore of all the high priest and Kharis and Ananka to his students. Nobody believes a thing, but that's when we're introduced to our new characters. I suppose they don't really do too much in this movie. Well, obviously, Amina does, because we'll talk a little bit more about her and the reincarnation. So Kharis actually survives the previous movie. Don't know how. Don't know. He's just back walking around after the first movie. So he's pretty much invincible. Kharis survives. Yousef Bey is instructed then to bring him and Ananka back to their resting place by using the Tana leaves. As I mentioned before, that's Kharis' drug of choice. He's quite hooked on that stuff. But this is all going now, who's brewing his own Tana leaves? The Professor. So this is where we get our first kill of the movie. And similar to the last movie that we reviewed last week, one of the main returning characters is killed off quite quickly. Took me by surprise. What did you... As like you could appreciate that there's not a lot of stock footage, and as Zontar said, there's not a 10-minute catch-up episode on this one, so I could appreciate how quick this one takes off. It would have been nice to keep that character around again. It's the movie moves on quite quick, but again, the only thing I can kind of take away though, the starting of all these mummy movies is kind of a rehash of what they already done. Kharis needs to come home. There's a new high priest. Now it's interesting. We get a new Bey every movie, seemingly. I can only imagine what. I'm assuming we'll get a new Yousef Bey in the next movie. I'm not sure. Is the next Bryan? Does the Mummy's course?
Oh, yeah, there's a new one. There's a new one. Two of them, if I'm not mistaken. Two of them, if I remember correctly, and the Mummy's curse. I think one of them is actually a henchman, so it's that sort of thing.
I don't want to spoil too much, but I've seen clips of the Mummy's course. That one looks like it's even that's going to spice up things even more, having Princess Ananka in it. Really excited to fucking review that one. So similar to the previous movie, the police find like clay mold on the Professor's body, basically indicating the return of the mummy. So Yousef Bey arrives at Massachusetts. That's the place that we're in. Brews the Tana leaves to bring Kharis home, but not before Kharis kills a person on his way home. So like the kill count is going up straight away. Kills the helpless farmer. Really exciting. This one I'm saying about the director. Even like Kharis smashing through the fence and all this type of stuff. I don't know. Am I alone here, or do you guys agree that like Kharis has kind of filmed even a little bit better in this movie than he was in the previous one? I don't know what it is. Anyone else think that?
Cinematography? Yeah. Oh, go ahead, Bryan.
Yeah, it's interesting because Kharis ends up becoming the only character to appear in all four of his films. So he's the main character. He's essentially our protagonist, I suppose you'd say. It's nice seeing him more at the top of his game.
Yeah, what are you going to say, Chris?
I'll say by direction, by cinematography, absolutely. And I'll say this by way of humor, right? So if we take each of the incarnations of Kharis or of all the mummies, so let's say we try to measure the foot speed. Take your Karloff out of the first one, take your Tom Tyler out of the second one, take Lon Chaney Jr. out of the previous one, take Lon Chaney Jr. out of the current one. Lon Chaney Jr. from this current mummy movie would win the foot race against all the other mummies. So he's more durable. He's more of a smashing Hulk. He had a commanding presence that the other times he appeared or that the other mummies did not have.
Yeah, as like that museum scene when he's smashing up the place. That's the quickest I've seen Kharis move in the whole series. I think this Kharis in this movie could maybe put up to Ardit Bey in the 1932 movie. I'm not sure. Remember we were talking about who would you rather run into down an alleyway?
Yeah, but
Kharis in this one's quite scary, man.
Imhotep Stone has the not having to be in the same room to kill you. things. So
Yeah, that's just OP, man. But we're coming up to that museum scene now, which is quite great. Yousef Bey emerges from hours after hiding. Kharis breaks into the museum. Now we don't really see it, but Kharis touches the mummified body of Ananka and she just disintegrates. So that's making Yousef think, oh fuck, he's reincarnated into another body, which is our character Amenia. Which is funny because she does have Egyptian heritage, but the look for her, and I think our design is quite cool. It's obviously a callback. Well, I hope so. It looks like it's a callback to the Bride of Frankenstein with the silver going through her hair. It's a quite cool design.
She picks them up as she goes along. Doesn't have the. I don't think she has the streaks in the hair originally, and she gets them.
She gets them.
yeah, she gets them gradually until her hair is completely white.
Yep.
I didn't notice how. I did notice at the final scene when the whole hair goes grey. I thought that was a real nice detail. So Kharis obviously goes into a fit of rage, and I don't know if any of you know this, guys, but when he smashes one of the cabins, one of the crew members who was ever looking after the stunt work or wherever the fuck forgot to replace that glass with like breakaway glass. So when Lon Chaney smashed the shard of glass, came up, cut his mummy mask, and we see a bit of blood in the movie. So that technically makes this the most hardcore Universal Mummy movie.
Mm-hmm.
Actual blood in it, man. Crazy. That's what like.
No, I love that story about it. Then I've often wondered. So in that era, was it just like reshooting wasn't going to work, or that she's got a little blood showing in his chin and it's real blood, leave it in there? Like what? As they're looking at the dailies or what have you, as they're seeing the film after it was shot, what was their decision process? But I'm not saying I want to change, right? It's such a specific behind the scenes legend that I like it just the way it is. If I have been a fly on the wall to catch their conversation at the time, would have been great.
Yeah. Later in the film, our hero is running down that hill and he wipes out.
Yeah.
And I suspect that was just like, you know what, just keep it.
Yeah, few
reshooting this.
Few bloopers, man. And I was digging more into Lon Chaney, and I don't know if any of you know about his antics on set. Supposedly, now, like this could be all hearsay. Maybe somebody didn't replace the glass on purpose. I don't know. But Lon Chaney seemed like he was a bit of a handful on set, especially when he was drunk. Again, I don't know how true this is, but who knows? Maybe the guy that was looking after all the equipment and the effects and all probably said, "Fuck him, I'm gonna leave the glass in." A nice little scene though.
Yeah, from what I've read, he didn't even wait for the fake glass. He just went about it.
What? It's just carried on.
Yeah, he didn't want to wait for the fake glass. He just wanted to do the rampage.
I want to talk a little bit about the actress who plays the reincarnated Ananka, Ramsey Ames. I hope I'm saying that name
Amina.
Amina.
Ramsey Ames.
Looking here in a lot of movies from the 40s, she was great in this. I think she's probably my favorite. Like it was a good pick for her. Like I think she's one of my favorite like actresses throughout the series. What did you think about her, Chris?
I thought she did quite well. She conveyed innocence very well, and right from the start of the movie to the end of the movie, right? You're in the audience, whatever decade you're watching, you're hoping she's going to survive, and she didn't. She didn't have any ill will. She didn't have any ambition, the likes of the John Carradine role. So it's she well-designed character and well executed by the actress.
Another thing I was reading now, I don't know how true this is, especially since how old the movie was. But and I don't want to sound perverted when I'm saying this for the listeners. I just want to know if this is true or not because I didn't notice it myself. There's a part where Ananka is laid out on the Yousef Bey. It's kind of near the end of the movie where Yousef Bey has her strapped to a table. I'm assuming about to make them both immortal, I suppose. Apparently there's a bit of a nip slip with Princess Ananka, and apparently it went unnoticed, especially during the 1940s where the Hays Code was quite well intact. I don't want to sound pervy when I'm saying this, but did any of you notice that? No.
I did not notice.
I don't know how true that is
Alright.
because like I only read it after I watched the movie. And it goes, I didn't notice that.
I had no idea.
Zontarn, that was the.
No, I did not. Now I'm going to rewatch.
What's interesting about this film is that we have two Batmen. Obviously, I'm making a joke here. We have John Carradine, who of course played Dracula, and I believe went on to play Dracula in some B movies years later. But we also have Robert Lowery, who plays the character of Tom Hervey. He, of course, went on to play Batman in the serial Batman and Robin, not to be confused with the movie in where the one was played by George Clooney.
Excellent. Yeah, I'm one of the, I mean, I'm sure you're the same way. We're, all us old movie buffs. When they, as Batman and Superman especially, and even Captain America, when they list the live action actors, like, hey, you're forgetting the guys from the 40s that were those serial Batman and Superman. Captain America. It's just like, they were Captain America, Batman, and Superman too.
You never get a look in. I was actually, speaking of John Carradine, came on the TV the other day. I'm trying to look for it here. It was like some crazy sci-fi B movie that he was in, and he was a lot older in it. I forget the fucking name of it.
He's in so much stuff.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
It'd be impossible.
He was in the Ten Commandments with Charlton Heston, and he was also in The Egyptian, where he played a grave robber.
He's just, in the 60s especially, he's just grinding out V-level sci-fi and horror.
Yeah, no, I think he might have voiced the owl and... Oh yes, he did. He did voice the great owl in Secret of NIMH also.
Wow.
Did not know that.
These old school actors must have got a kick out of like getting into the more B movie style of acting because Lon Chaney done a lot of B movies and later on, didn't he? 50s.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
That's why I still remember that. I recommended one of the other episodes, the Alligator People. Lon Chaney's in that. It's ridiculous.
Spider Baby.
Spider Baby.
Yeah, if you're familiar with Spider Baby, I recommend it.
I feel compelled to make the quick pitch for stepping outside of the horror genre to counterbalance the post-peak, post-prime Lon Chaney Jr. in the motion picture, The Defiant Ones, where the leads are Sidney Poitier and Tony Curtis. The bit role that Chaney had in that movie showed to me real strong acting chops, and so I rate that film, The Defiant Ones, as a really strong picture.
Yeah, and A Mice and Men.
Yes.
Yep.
Interesting. I must check them out because I kind of only seen Lon Chaney Jr. in B movies, unfortunately. Like, so it would be nice to see him in maybe something a little bit more serious. He just had that presence, like,
He's in an episode of The Monkees.
The Monkees, the old band.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah.
Wow. Only listening to me and Magdalena there about 2 hours ago. Funny enough, fucking love that song. I haven't checked out the Monkees series yet. I'm a big fan of the band. I've yet to check out the series. It looks looks like a bit of fun. I want to talk about Yousef Bey in this one, man. Sorry, you were going to say something there, bro?
Yeah, I do know that Lon Chaney Jr. appeared in the TV show Hawkeye and the Last of the Mohicans, playing the titular Last of the Mohicans, Chingachgook, and that show was actually filmed here in Canada and was actually a few cities over from where I live.
Well, what movie was that? The Last of the Mohicans?
It was a TV show actually, Hawkeye and the Last of the Mohicans. I have it favorited on the Internet Archive. That's sort of saying saved, and I just switched to saying favorited halfway through. But yeah, it's if you didn't know, Lon Chaney was one of two stars of a Canadian television series.
Well, let's talk. Excuse me. Let's talk a little bit more about Yousef Bey, because I think out of all the Beys that we've seen in this series, man, what a fucking scumbag! He was what a fucking scumbag, man. He was trying to take Kharis' princess. Fuck me, like that was another corkball. That was another corkball for me in this movie. Obviously, we get to know a little bit more about Ananka. That little twist at the end where he's basically risen up at Ananka and about to kill her. I don't know if he was gonna kill her, but made her immortal along with himself. Kharis is now. Actually, before I get a little bit more to that, like, where do you think the base is for Yousef Bey? They're on top of like some sort of like track. I couldn't even describe it, man. Does anyone know where they were in this movie?
Yeah, I guess it's for coal.
Yeah, I'm guessing. I was reading my Universal Studios Monsters book earlier, like after, and apparently it was for some. It was reused from a previous film, a mine, and I think it was set for a mine or something.
Yeah, I definitely had that. I've seen it before, and they get a lot of use out of it. There's a lot of running up and down it.
I think like you went from a creepy cemetery graveyard to like a fucking coal mine. Like, where the fuck are they? Fucking looks miserable. But Yousef Bey is basically risen up Ananka. Fucking Kharis is outside listening to the whole thing and bursts through the door like a bat out of hell. And like again, there's another scene where Kharis is quick on the ball, man. Like they turned the speed up on Kharis' switch in this movie. And like I said, like me and Bryan was saying, in the last movie, we kind of get a taste of Kharis rebelling against the Bey, and he finally does it in this one. And Yousef Bey, he basically gets backhanded, doesn't he? Out a window.
Yeah.
Like the strength of Kharis needs to be studied, man. I think he's up there with the Marvel Hulk. Incredible, man.
Absolutely.
Yeah, imagine a TV series about Kharis.
And I thought we were kind of gonna get a similar ending to the last movie where it's an angry mob. I was looking at that mine place that we're in, and it's like that is gonna get lit up by the angry mob, and it doesn't. Like the ending of this movie is such a nice little twist with Kharis bringing Ananka into the swamp, which is fucking.
And the mob has guns this time instead of torches.
Yeah.
Upgraded the mob.
Oh shit! Yeah, you know, like, and at least they're not burning down the house where the girl that we're trying to save is in. You know, but what I don't get, man, when Kharis lowers himself with the princess down into the water, there's about 20, 30, 40 men outside the swamp. Nobody decides to jump in and swim down and get her.
Someone says it's certain death when a guy says it's certain death. I guess the sheriff or something when he stops Tom from going in. So I guess no one wanted to, add to the body count.
Well, what?
Yeah, our hero doesn't even go in, right? I can see. Do they hold him back, or does he change his mind? I don't recall.
They hold him back. They hold him down.
Yeah. Okay.
Well,
So we have to discuss the other important character is the dog. Gosh, there's a lot
Peanuts.
Peanuts gets a lot of screen time. Who I apologize to earlier. I was calling him Toto.
I mean,
apologize.
it's still better than what James Wolfe thought the name was, because if you have seen that one video of his,
what does he call the dog?
Oh God, can I even say it? Penis, because he's not sure what's actually being said, but I'm pretty sure they weren't be calling a dog that in a film in the 1940s.
But like, why do nobody jump in? I know you said, Bryan, it's instant death, but like, what is in this swamp that makes it instant death?
I really have no idea. I think it's quicksand.
I was thinking either Kharis is a sick swimmer and Kharis is like a crocodile under that water.
It's the golden age of quicksand. You know, the cereals especially. You know, there's the joke about the cereals in the 30s and 40s and even into the 50s and regular Hollywood too, and the B movies. Convince you there's quicksand everywhere, and you go up and you realize there's hardly any quicksand.
Yeah.
Exactly.
The swamp in this is pretty quicksandy.
And quicksand in real life doesn't even act like that, does it? I don't think so. I don't think you can actually.
I haven't tested it. I don't plan to test it, but I believe there's truth in what you said.
I thought this is obviously setting up the next movie, The Mummy's Curse, that will follow this review. So Kharis doesn't get burnt alive like in the last previous two movies. Yeah, just a quite nice ending. Like, in reality, though, I would have liked somebody to jump in after him. But we can see the princess kind of decomposing as well, which I thought that was a nice kind of creepy scene. I wasn't really expecting when it zooms into her face. I can see it like she's kind of decomposing. Obviously, that started earlier on, as Zontar said, with the streak going through her hair, and by the end of the movie, she's completely grey. Which again, that's a nice little touch. I think this movie kind of took a little bit more risk, whereas previous movie kind of just toned story down a little bit and then kind of upped like the kills, I suppose. This one had a bit of both. It tried something new, and it still had Kharis going around like a pre-80 slasher Jason, which is quite nice.
Her character's got a tiny bit of Larry Talbot going, and that early on, she's cursed. She can't explain it to her boyfriend, and then she dies at the end. Where do we just see that? Larry Talbot, cursed.
Oh my gosh, great comparison.
Yes, man, yeah. Yeah, it does share some liberties with the old classic monster movies, man. Like a lot of people online seem to give the Universal Mummy series a bit of shit compared to, like, say, the Frankenstein one or the Invisible Man series. I'm quite surprised, man. Like, this is my first run through these movies. Obviously, I've seen the 32 one a few times, and I think I've seen this one a couple of years ago. But like I said earlier, like every single movie is throwing something new in to keep it fresh. They're definitely not repetitive, as a lot of people say online. I just don't agree with, like, well, when you think they're going to get a bit repetitive, they throw something new in. And this whole new kind of Ananka coming back and replacing that girl, like, it's great. It's great. I'd be excited to see now what the Mummy's Course does. And I suppose we will have to jump into the Abbott and Costello one. What year did that one come out, Brian?
1955.
Yeah.
And 2 years after came the Aztec Mummy, and then in 1959, at the close of the decade, we had the first of the Hammer films.
And I believe that, I'm not sure if it was the first Hammer movie. Now, forgive me if I'm making a mistake here, but I think it might have been actually the first Hammer Mummy movie. Took a lot of things from this movie. I haven't seen it myself, but I think there is a scene where Kharis drags her down into the swamp as well.
Wow. Yep.
Yeah, they do take a lot from the Kharis films, but even then there is a bit of the original Karloff film in there.
I'm sorry, I'm not sure if I asked. I think there's 4 Hammer Mummy movies.
There's 4 Kharis films, so we've got one more Kharis film. Then we have Abbott and Costello Meet the Mummy, then the Aztec Mummy, and then there are the 4 Hammer films.
4 Hammer movies, yeah. And then we have the Mummy Spain as well coming up at some stage.
I mean, if we want to even things out, we can look at some adaptations of the Journal of Seven Stars, since, the last of the Hammer Mummy films is an adaptation of that story.
Bryan, I must ask, did you
shake things up?
Did you get into reading that Mummy comic kind of looking book?
Not yet. I'm still reading the Superman. It's a long one, spanning from 1938 to 1940. The one I read today was Superman and his war on reckless drivers.
That sounds quite interesting. Was somebody here saying the Mummy 4 is after being announced? Brendan Fraser?
Yes.
Oh, Brendan Fraser, yes, just announced just recently.
Yep, just a couple days ago. 2028, summer.
What a time to be a Mummy fan.
Yeah.
You have the 4 of us talking about all the old classic. We have a new Mummy coming out in April, and then a couple of years' time we have Brendan Fraser coming back. I'm assuming Brendan Fraser's coming back to reprise his role.
I believe so. I believe he's trying to get everyone to come back. He wants Arnold Vosloo. He wants Oded Fair. He wants...
Yep, yeah.
What's his name who played Benny?
Yep. Whole gang.
Kevin O'Connor, I think his name is, even though Benny died back in the 99 film.
It'd be nice to see Brendan Fraser back on the big screen in a proper good movie. Like, we obviously know his career he had some issues, but it'd be nice to see him back in one of his most iconic roles.
Yeah, be nice to see one of the big name Canadian actors again.
What was that one that you done a couple of years ago when you returned to acting? Was it called The Whale?
I think
Well,
so.
yeah.
Did you see that one?
Haven't seen
I've
it.
not seen it.
I haven't seen it. It
I
looks.
didn't see the whale. I did see the television sequence of the Doom Patrol from the DC
Oh.
comics where he played
Oh.
Robot Man, or at least he did the voice of Robot Man, and that was just great to see him. Like he was a kid in an amusement park having the time of his life.
Yeah, when I was a kid, I'd go to the library, rent, borrow books on tape, and some of them were read by Brendan Fraser.
Audiobooks?
It was nice. Yeah, audiobooks.
That's
Yeah,
wicked.
people might criticize his voice sometimes, or his acting abilities, but if you actually listen to him read an audiobook, he's really, really great. Like all of the range he really gets, and it's just him. It's not a phone cast or anything.
I wonder what they'll do with the new Mummy 4 movie. Like, I'm assuming it's going to be a direct sequel to the previous one. They're not
Yeah.
going to do
I
this
mean,
remake shit or.
I mean, maybe they're. I don't know. It's called. I think it's called The Mummy Resurrection. So I don't know. Maybe Imhotep's returning again. So I don't know. I don't know. Can we just let him die for once and have him stay dead before it turns into Castlevania with Dracula?
Any hopes for this one in April? I'm not sure about anymore, man.
Yeah, I've got hopes for it. It'd be nice to see another proper horror mummy again.
I don't know what I was expecting when I watched the trailer. There's a part of me, man, that just wants a new age Kharis running around with a machete or something. You know, it's obviously not that.
Yeah, well, I've been planning my own story set in the Edwardian era, but with the mummy being a Nubian, and instead, well, the backstory is still in Egypt, but the actual setting is Southern Ontario.
You're writing a story, Bryan.
Well, I'm already writing a fantasy story called Aether, so I probably do. I don't even know what I'm going to call this mummy story. I mean, I could just. I don't know. I could just name it after whatever I'll call a mummy.
Have you ever brought out a book, Bryan?
Oh, I write a lot. I really do want to be published sometime.
I'm looking to do it as well, man. I've never really said this on a show, but I have a rough draft of a script of a movie. I came up with the idea of maybe about 5 years ago, and I've been chipping away at a script to it. Don't know when James Rolfe came out with that Gnome Cave book. Like that was originally an idea for a movie that he had, but he just said, "Fuck it, I'll just put out a book." And he kind of made it. If you watch the video, I'm not sure if anyone here on the panel has seen this video, but if you watch it, like he kind of explains how he got it published. Now, I think it's exclusively, excuse me, I think it's exclusively sold on Amazon. Not sure if you can just walk into a bookstore and get this book, but it seems quite not easy, but like doable to publish a book that you've wrote. But the only thing about me is I wouldn't be a professional writer, like, so I am looking for people to maybe give me a hand with it. If there's any listeners out there, or maybe Bryan will help me do it, because Bryan reads enough books. He should be an expert at this stage now, I'd say. But yeah, no, like it's definitely doable, Bryan. If you ever want to do that, man, because I would definitely read a Bryan Croy Dragon book.
Yeah, Aether, it's definitely fantasy, set in a fantasy world. The titular island is based on Minoan Crete, and the current ruling. It's more diverse than the actual Minoan Crete would have been. The current ruling family is the world's equivalent of Gaelic. So,
cool, yeah.
Yeah, originally I'm just being upfront about it. The originally when I was working on it, the main antagonist was just supposed to be the High Priest of the Sun Bowl, one of the two patron gods of Aether, the other one being the Moon Cow. But eventually I just thought, you know what? Have the High Priest of the Sunborn be the cousin of the protagonist, the Crown Prince. So I don't have to have, so I can cut down on the amount of families and that make up the cast.
That sounds quite interesting, man. Keep
you
me
know-
updated on that.
Yeah, you know, I like Shakespeare. I go to Stratford every summer to see the Stratford Shakespeare Festival here in Ontario. I like Richard III. It's probably one of my favorite of his histories. In the trailer for the 1995 adaptation of Richard III, not sure if you've ever seen it, has Ian McKellen as Richard in a what I would call Nazi Britain. And the trailer refers to Richard as the dark heart of a royal family, and yeah, that's just really works.
Is that Richard III? That's Shakespeare. Sorry, that's basically the Tower of London, isn't it? Have anyone ever seen that Vincent Price movie called Tower of London? I think it's based off the.
Yeah,
That's the one, Bryan, is it?
I've not seen the Tower of London personally, but I have. But a couple of years ago or so, I'm sorry, time is weird. Richard III was performed in Stratford, and I got to see it. It had Comfrior himself. Not sure if anyone here has heard of Comfrior. Not sure. Well, I can name one movie that you've probably heard of. The first of the Thor films. He was Laufey in that.
Oh, okay, yeah.
He played Richard, and it actually opened with the discovery of Richard's body underneath a parking lot, like it was in real life, and it just opens with Comfrior walking out of this hole in the ground stage, however you want to put it, in full costume, and then now is the winter of our discontent, and it just and to perfectly bring it all together. The ending is the reinterment of his bones in a new grave, and that was filmed, that production. So it's not going to be a lost or anything, lost of time. It's preserved.
Okay, gotta check that
Jeez,
out.
we really got sidetracked, didn't we?
It just turned into a Shakespearean review. That's it.
Yeah, but going back to my idea for a mummy story, it's probably derived from the fact that whenever it's set in Egypt, it's always the character is always ethnically Egyptian, even though there were dynasties that were, not ethnically Egyptian. There were the Hyksos, which are a Semitic people. There were the Nubians. There were the Persians, the Greeks, and then there were the Roman pharaohs. So, yeah, you do have plenty of variety. You can do a Nubian mummy, you can do a Greek mummy. Even the Romans practiced mummification.
There's one Roman sort of mummy movie, The Petrified Man, and he's at Pompeii and he gets awoken.
What year is that one from?
Interesting.
Yeah, I think it's The Petrified Man sometime in the 50s.
Yeah, it's interesting because the Romans in Egypt, for some reason they just took to that like the Greeks did. I have no idea why.
Chris, do you have an idea of if you were asked to create or write a script for a new mummy movie? Do you have any ideas?
I feel like I'm out of my depth here. Our fictional talk of the mummy spleen. We're talking about which other bay could put in. I'll go the route of dad jokes, and I think within the mummy spleen, the new bay will have the name of Galway Bay, and that's about as best as I can run with this one.
A couple of podcasts ago, I did say I'd like to see a like a Castlevania-esque mummy game that pays homage to the entire franchise, not just being a tie-in for the one
First,
film.
I know.
Yeah, and while I do like the Mummy Demastered, I would like to see, the rest of the characters. I'd like to see Imhotep as a final boss. I'd like to, fight Kharis. I don't know, fight the Dragon Emperor, fight Amanet. I want to fight them all. I don't know, just
I don't know, man.
it would just be really nice, especially with how good the Bloodstained series, definitely showing that there's something that can be done. It just seems like there's a lot of untapped potential.
And man, you could even strip it down. There's a lot of potential there with the Mummy character. As my idea for the Mummy movie, man, it's quite straightforward. Just make it a slasher. Have Kharis walking around with a blade, with a fucking Michael Myers knife, out of his head on Tana leaves.
Yeah,
running around Egypt like a fucking maniac. That would be so fucking good, man.
Yeah, something interesting. I think it was on the road to the Brendan Fraser film, like when they were trying to get it figured out. I think one idea was that the mummy belonged to a doomsday cult, an apocalyptic cult or something, and he'd have to rewrap himself periodically. And one of the ideas was that he'd rewrap himself with barbed wire.
Sounds sick. If any of the listeners are still here, if you've made it this far into it, drop a comment below your idea of a new Mummy movie. Like we're in the golden age of fucking Mummy movies.
And here's something I should bring up. Check out the animated series Monster Force, which I did share a clip of on my Instagram.
That looks fucking sick, man. Is that just one episode, or is that whole series gonna have them monsters in?
There was one episode covering the creature from the Black Lagoon, where he was just this force of nature. Dracula's pretty much the main antagonist. Frankenstein's monster, recurring character. Yeah, it's too bad there was only the one DVD release.
The episodes are probably on YouTube, are they?
The episodes are on the Internet Archive. The ones that did get the DVD release are very obviously you can tell which ones were on a DVD release and which weren't, because the latter half are clearly from old VHS tapes.
I'll leave a link down if I find a few clips of them on YouTube for people to check out, because that is actually a really cool looking animation. But
yeah,
so
go
ahead.
Imhotep fighting Dracula, or Dracula as he's called in that episode, for no reason, even though I was watching the first episode earlier and he is called Dracula in that, so I don't know why, but Imhotep fighting Dracula, very great. Or Hotep fighting Dracula, as it is in the episode. Also, check out Mad Monster Party. That's yeah.
Actually, man, there's an interesting question right there. That's only has popped in my head. If you had a big wrestling ring, maybe put them in the UFC octagon. You have the Mummy, Dracula, Frankenstein, the Wolfman, and you can't really have the Invisible Man. That's too OP, so we'll exclude them. But if you had the four of them in an MMA like 4-way fight, who would you put your money on?
I don't know.
Because man, like you think Frankenstein, but then you see Kharis in these movies, man, strangling people with the touch of his fingers.
Mm-hmm.
He backhanded Yousef Bey, man, out that window.
The recent Del Toro Frankenstein, he frees a ship in ice, and it's pretty impressive. That's a strong Frankenstein.
And the start of that movie
I'm with
was so
Hunter.
good.
I think outstanding. I think just raw power wise, if we're just measuring, if we're going to have some kind of metric to put them in a weight room or something, then I think Frankenstein is going to turn out to be physically superior. Now let's add in the fact that this movie we're speaking of now is the most menacing or has I would say he's in the fighting stance the most, or he's ready to be in combat the most. However, he's still got only the one arm free. Now that would be a whole other circumstance if you cut the bandages or give him animation of the second arm. Then I think he's capable of a lot more. That being said, I would. Can I hear myself saying this? I still think Frankenstein takes him. I still think Frankenstein takes him, no matter if you give him a second arm or not.
If you get outside Universal, for Frankenstein, he has so many appearances. Like, do you count Frankenstein Conquers the World, where he's a kaiju? Do you count, the what's the Frankenstein Jr., the cartoon, where he's a giant robot?
That's true. Or even I'm not sure if anyone's seen Frankenstein Created Woman. That that Hammer movie. Yep. She's a woman. So
yep.
Be interested to see. I was speaking about Dracula. Chris done a video on what company made that Dracula figure. Chris.
So that's the Jada company, and since then they've lost their license. This is going back a bunch of years now. They've lost their license to the Universal characters, but they had a standard Dracula, and then in the Jada Next Level, they had the Bela Lugosi based on the stage play. So still theatrical, but not cinema theatrical, stage theatrical. So that was the Jada Next Level Dracula that I just reviewed, and tomorrow I'm gonna go through the entirety of my Dracula collection.
So that figure wasn't in a new release.
No, this is a bunch of years. I did give or take 4 years that the Jada's lost the license.
Say that's worth a bit of money, man. That figure.
Yeah, it was worth. It was you can't buy everything you want, but this one was definitely worth it.
I'll leave a link to that stream. You need to check that out.
Yeah, last time at the last Fan Expo, I did manage to get from the Ninja Turtles Universal Monsters figures the Shredder as Dracula figure.
That's a real good one too.
Yeah, and just recently I was able to find a Canadian film archive on the Internet Archive, and it does have Dracula, pages from a Virgin's Diary, which was made in 2002, a silent ballet adaptation of Dracula.
Yeah, I like that.
There's a Dracula in theaters right now. There's a Luke Besson Dracula in theaters. Anybody seen it yet?
No.
I have not seen it.
Yeah, I have it queued up for next week. I have it queued up for Monday.
Oh, it's the Bela Lugosi?
No, Luke Besson doing a new Dracula. I know nothing about it, but it's in theaters.
How come I never fucking heard about that, man? What the fuck? It's just called Dracula?
Yeah. Yep.
Maybe it's got a different international release date, maybe.
Maybe, man. Yeah, maybe so. I'm seeing
2025 French film?
Yeah, that's...
Yep.
Luc Besson.
Yep.
English language, French Gothic. Release date July 30th for France. 2025.
Yeah, but it just got into the theaters here. February 6th in North America.
Interesting.
Okay, so yeah, we're just getting so it's just seeing its North American release.
Yep, in it Monday.
So speaking of Dracula, did anyone see the BBC Dracula? Can anyone hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
I was asking, did anyone see the BBC? It's like I think it's on Netflix. It's like a 3 or 4 part series. They're like an hour long episodes. No, nobody seen that?
No. I didn't know about it at all. I think
there's a few BBC, but I have seen the miniseries with Louis Jourdan, most faithful screen adaptation yet of the book Dracula. It's fantastic. I have the DVD. Yeah,
that's the one I'm talking about, Bryan. It probably is the most faithful to the book. Dracula actually ages well. He de-ages, I suppose.
He doesn't age in that one, but he does age in the 2006 one, which is considerably less faithful.
So there's obviously a few fucking BBC Draculas. I'm talking about the 2021. I'm talking about. You've seen that one now? 2021.
Oh, that's a different one that I've not seen it. Are we talking the series Van Helsing, or?
Well, it's told.
I'm looking on Wikipedia right now.
Yeah, well, definitely check that one out, Bryan, because that's actually quite faithful to the source material. And as Dracula's like taking his victims, he starts at the start of the series. He's like an old man, and by the end of the movie, he's a young man. It's actually really good. It's one of my favorite. If you haven't checked it out, guys, that's really really good. That's it for today. I want to go and ask the panel now their final thoughts on the Mummy's ghost. Now, funny enough, actually, just how there wasn't a ghost in this movie. So they were obviously just spitballing ideas like to name these mummy movies. So there was no ghost unless Ananka was meant to be the quote unquote ghost. I'm not sure. But Bryan, your final thoughts on this movie and then drop a rating.
Yeah, I like it. It's I mean, I do find the character of Tom Hervey a bit boring, but I like it. Amina, very good looking. Kharis, Kharis's Rampage, fantastic. John Carradine, probably the best performance in these films. I might get hate for that. That ending, just perfection. Overall rating, probably a 4. Not as high as the Karloff film, but still pretty high.
A 4 out of 5. Well, I won't do it this episode. Maybe after when we finish the next episode, I want us all to kind of like rank the mainline Universal mummy movies. Obviously, I think the 1932 one is going to be top of most people's lists. But Chris, what do you think about the movie, man? And drop a rating.
Okay, I didn't mean to make this a through line, but I'll stick to my through line from our first talk of the original Mummy movie. I was trying to take note of just different stuff I hadn't paid attention to before, and so it just popped into my head to look at posture. And the first time around, I'm looking at the subtle posture of Boris Karloff. So now I'm saying in this current movie, The Mummy's Ghost, Lon Chaney Jr. had, like I say, more of a fighting stance, more of an aggressive posture than he had in his previous go round. And even just if we're going to include John Carradine, his posture was definitely more of a striking figure. So I just think the body language was telling part of the story here. And again, I just enjoyed Carradine as a supporting player and Zuko as a supporting player. You know, they've been definitely in the other Universal pictures, so you have a bit of the this is the returning group of players that it's nice to see them from film to film. I'm going to go 4 1/4. I really like the take no prisoners, no holds barred approach that Chaney was able to take in this one.
Zontar, what about you, man?
Yeah, I'll go 4. As I said, John Carradine's fantastic. It's the most Bay we've ever gotten, and it's because it's John Carradine. Like I said, he's coming off of Grace of Wrath, so he's a big name. And Ramsey as Amina, she's fantastic. Ed, she's doomed, but she's great. And Lon Chaney Jr. I'll go 4.
Yeah, I'm taking it 4 as well, Zontar, man. Yeah, John Carradine played Yousef Bey beautifully, man. What a fucking scumbag. Beautifully done.
Perhaps
What'd you say,
perhaps
Zontar?
too much screen time for the dog.
Yeah.
My only complaint is perhaps too much screen time for Peanut. That's a lot of barking. And at the end, he just gets left there. It's like, well, nobody carries the dog back. He's been doing a lot of running.
I can't pick at nitpick at him really in this movie. I do prefer it to The Mummy's Hand, though. I will say I'm not sure where I leave it stacked up against the Mummy's Tomb. I really enjoyed that one, but yeah, I'll give it basically all around the board, balanced off to about 4 out of 5. This was an excellent watch. It sets up the next movie that we'll be talking about next week, The Mummy's Course, that will end the mainline series. I don't think Lon Chaney comes back after the next one, does he, for Abbott and Costello?
No.
Yeah.
Last night, that actually follows a different mummy. Well, as much as he appears in the film. And I believe it's actually Eddie Parker who plays the character.
Yep. And then some other stuntmen too.
But at least we get Michael and Sarah in the film, who would, of course, go on to voice Mr. Freeze in Batman the Animated Series.
We'll get to that one. We didn't really go over the design of Kharis in this one, but I feel like it was pretty much identical to that last movie.
Yeah.
It's almost like they shot these movies, like the previous movie and this one back to back. Like the design is the exact same. Where I've seen clips of the Mummy's Curse, which is obviously the next one. He looks a little bit different on that one. So yeah, there's not really to say too much more about the design really until the next one. But yeah, everyone that made it this far, make sure you like the video, drop a comment about your idea about a mummy movie. I'd be interested to see if anyone has any good ideas down there. Yeah, if you're listening over on Spotify, make sure you drop a rating over there. That helps out over there. And yeah, thanks for Bryan, Cry Dragon. I'm going to leave a link to his stuff in the description. Chris Conley, great stuff. I'm going to leave a link to his. And Zontar, you can catch him over on Reddit. Zontar is in a lot of the film Reddits, I see.
Yep.
So if you see Zontar, make sure you say hello. I won't bore you about the Discord this episode, but I'll leave a link for that in the description as well. Make sure you join that. And yeah, thanks for watching, guys. Thanks for the panel for joining me.
Yep.
Appreciate you, guys.
Yep. Thanks for having us. Yep.
Thanks much.
And we'll see you on the next one.
I am Dracula.